Hi, welcome to the Anti-Anxiety Group Live. This is the very first time that we've done a live with a guest, so I'm really excited. If you're part of this group, then you know that we're all about taking positive action for ourselves in order to tackle our anxiety. And we're going to have I've got a series of talks lined up with lots of different experts in different areas as to how that we can do this. And if you have any questions or comments for our expert, today it's Steve, then please do post them. Now, there's something to do with the technology I'm using that means I won't unfortunately be able to see your name or your profile picture when you put a post on. But put a post on anyway, and we'll read the questions out. And hopefully, when we come back to Facebook, we'll be able to see who's asked those questions. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk diet and exercise with Steve Claringbold from Fitness Independent, and let's get him on.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome, Steve. So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Steve Claringbold. I'm based in Carlisle. Married, 2 kids, and I've been a personal trainer now for towards the end of this year. It'll be kicking on for nearly 3 years. So yeah, I've been doing it a while, and started training probably back in 2008. Started running, and over time, the more I got into that sort of thing and fitness and all. Sorry, I use my hands quite a lot, so I will be doing.
Yeah, that's great. Go for it.
So as we as I got into fitness, that I found I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed reading about it and researching about it and all that sort of thing. So it was a no-brainer in the end that I would end up becoming a personal trainer, and it's been a bit of a journey. And yeah, so I started running back in 2008. I was overweight, and I suffered from stress and anxiety myself at the time, and it was just, like 20 odd years I'd suffered from it. And that was a way of kind of getting out of it for me, and finding different techniques that I could use to kind of calm that issue down a little bit. And yeah, so running, exercise, all that sort of stuff definitely helped me in the end. So
I do think it's amazing how long so many of us let these feelings of stress and anxiety run our lives until we do something about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's great that you found your way.
Yeah, up to that point, I was definitely broken as a person. So I needed to find something. Otherwise, who knows where I could have been and what could have happened. And as it was, I tried a few different things in the past, but running was definitely the thing that kind of saved me and sorted me out. So
running is not my bag, but
no. And to be fair, it's not everyone's. When I talk about exercise, it's very much find what you want to do. Running's my background, so that's generally where a lot of my talk and discussions around. But in terms of what people want to do, they need to find something that they're going to enjoy doing, because if you don't, you're just torturing yourself, so it's got to be something that you enjoy doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that diet and exercise is good for us. People tell us all the time.
Yeah.
But how does that help with anxiety?
So in terms of diet and exercise, you've got various different neurotransmitters and hormones, and they all kind of work together to regulate the body and all that sort of thing. So when you exercise, you kind of increase oxygen flow, and what that does is it kind of prompts the body to release things like serotonin, endorphins, dopamine. It was coming. It was right at the back of my head there. Like with dopamine and endorphins, they're kind of already there in the brain. But serotonin, what everyone thinks it's kind of part of brain activity, but it's actually based in the gut. So when you say like gut feeling and all that sort of thing, that's a lot to do with serotonin. And when that's released, that actually sends a transmitter up to the brain, and that just kind of gives you a feeling of general well-being, like you've really enjoyed something. So that's it in a nutshell, really. Exercise promotes the release of all those sorts of hormones and neurotransmitters, and when it does, we end up enjoying ourselves, feeling a bit better. And if we don't do it, we really struggle to kind of release those. And that's where we're at with that, really.
Yeah, I mean, I find that if I can find the motivation to do exercise, then it's great and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's finding that motivation to begin with that can be difficult.
Absolutely.
Have you got any suggestions for that?
Find the motivation.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, it's very much a small process, small steps. I would say to everyone, if you want to do something, work backwards. So what's your goal? And like I say, I will link most things back to running. But so your goal might be to run, 10K, 5K or something, 3 miles, 6 miles. Work backwards from that. So what do I need to get there? So that might be you need to start running. And that could just be running around the block to start off with, which is where I started. Started walking around the block, and then lamppost to lamppost. So I would run for a little bit and then stop, walk for a little bit. And that motivation wise, a lot of it kind of comes from you as well. So, it's very subjective. It starts small, is the key, really. Build up, and, I wouldn't suggest anyone, set a goal of running around the block and then 5 weeks later running a marathon or something. Really small. Build up slowly. Find out that you enjoy it first, and work from there. Find something you enjoy. Work out how to get into it. Don't absolutely smash yourself in to start off with, and build up gradually. That's probably the best kind of advice I can give in terms of that.
And in terms of food, so you're talking about serotonin being released in the gut and having gut feelings, and the healthy gut biome is something that I keep hearing about, but don't really understand. So are there any foods that we should be aiming to avoid, or any foods that we should be aiming to eat more of in order to support that?
Yeah. So a lot of so I started training a thing called precision nutrition, and what that kind of is based on is no restrictions. So if you restrict a food, human nature is you're definitely going to want it,
Yeah.
So it's very much a case of working on an 80-20 kind of basis. So 80% of the time, clean, whole foods, single use foods. So they only come from one place, like turkey, chicken, eggs,
Okay.
and like refined foods like brown rice, all that sort of thing. The good stuff. And then you've got the stuff that you really want, like pizzas and donuts. People go mad for donuts at the moment, don't they?
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very much a case of working them into, there's going to be something that you want to eat all the time. But in terms of releasing things like serotonin, you're looking at things like bananas, walnuts, pineapples, eggs, milk, cheese in moderation. So cheese is good, but obviously there's bad sides to it as well. It's not great for the heart. And then you've got seeds, turkey, salmon, and they all kind of work together. So what's usually good for serotonin release is good for dopamine release, is good for endorphin release. And yeah, walnuts, seeds, pistachios, and dark chocolate, tofu as well. So you've got,
Had me with dark chocolate and lost me with tofu.
Yeah, the other way around. But yeah, I mean, those are the big hitters. Leafy green vegetables. So they're your good stuff. But definitely, don't always go for them. Work in some of the stuff that you really, really want. Because if you don't, you'll really, really want it all the time. You'll end up binge eating it. So, yeah.
Cool. That's fab. Thank you. And I was wondering, so I'm pretty lazy and I can't, with things being how they are at the moment, I can't always be bothered to go outside. And going outside's got a bit of a undercurrent to it in itself at the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big one for exercise. So I was wondering if you could show us something that I can do without getting changed into workout gear, because I won't.
Yeah.
And without any specialist equipment, because I haven't got any. And preferably something I can do in an ad break.
Yeah.
Because if I'm faced with 20 to 30 minutes of exercise, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So something really, really quick and fairly easy that will get the blood pumping, but is short and doesn't need any specialist equipment. If you could show us something like that, that would be, yes, short and sweet. That would be really helpful.
No worries. So I got certified last year by a company called Move It or Lose It, and they're very focused on chair-based activities, activities of daily living. So stuff you can do around the house without having to leave the house. So it's very much for people who are infirm or, do suffer from, the inability to leave the house or might struggle to leave the house for any sort of exercise. So with that in mind, they've got the perfect thing, which is called a 4-move cuppa routine. So you literally flick the switch on the kettle. As soon as that goes on, you're off. So if you've got a couple of cans of beans or tomatoes, or just imagine these are a couple of cans of beans or tomatoes, you don't have to use them. So you can just use your arms. But if you've got something to hand that's got a bit of weight around it, just arms up to the side and back down. And we would do that 10 times. So as the arms come up, breathe out. And as they come back down, breathe in.
Oh, that feels like the wrong way round for breathing to me.
Yeah.
I want to breathe in as my arms go up.
So we'll do that 10 times. And then once you've done it 10 times, usually once you're boiling your kettle, you're next to kind of like a unit or a kind of something around this kind of level. So I'll just put my camera down so you can see what's going on. So all we're going to do, bob our hands onto the unit or the surface, and then we're just going to come up on the toes and back down, up on the toes and back down. Again, as you come up, you'll breathe out. And as you put the feet back down, you breathe in. So you always breathe in as you're coming down for recovery. And again, you would do that 10 times. And then we'll go into what they're calling have a sit down and have a rest. So we'll go into the sit to stand. So you're just down and up, just nice and light. So you can have your hands just by the chair and back down. You don't have to have a chair. So if you haven't got a chair handy, you just make that exact movement as if you were going to sit down. So you would just push your bum back. Imagine you've got a stool and then sit yourself down. And again, just 10 times. So if you have got a chair, you just want to work your way right back. Just kind of let the backs of your legs kind of feel the chairs there. And then back down and up. And then last one. So kettle's nearly boiled now. Well earned cuppa. So again, we're just on this this unit. One hand down, lift the leg up to the side and back down. And then once you've done 10 on one side, just spin yourself around and do 10 on the other. And that's probably the quickest kind of exercise routine and the easiest that you can do without, properly going into any sort of depth or, it's easy. Everyone can do it. Everyone gets up and down to sit down. You can do it on your sofa as well.
Sofa might be a bit low. Sofa might be level 2.
Low, yeah. Once you're on the sofa, you're usually there for the rest of the night, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, maybe don't do it on the sofa. Practice on the chair.
Practice on the chair and level up to the sofa.
That's it.
I reckon even I can do that. So that's really good. That's really good. Thank you. Now I think we maybe have covered this, but what's your go-to exercise when you're stressed?
So if you'd asked us a year ago, I would have said running. But with lockdown and everything, I've really found my motivation with running has dipped, completely. And that's mainly been so like I was saying before, I've got a history with stress and anxiety and all that sort of thing. So what I'm trying to do is be a bit kinder to myself as well. So if I don't fancy going for a run, I'm not going at the moment, purely because I've got to want to go, I think, and that's the same for everyone. If you find something you enjoy doing, you've got to be really careful that it doesn't become too much. Again, you've got to enjoy doing it. It can't become a habit or a chore. It's because you find it with some people that they get to a point where it becomes part of their life, and there's that tipping point where it becomes too much for people to kind of enjoy doing it anymore. So I've gone wildly off the subject there. So yes, running normally, but at the moment, kettlebells. So what I do, I'd just swing a kettlebell around for half an hour, 45 minutes, and there's various things you can do with them. They're very adaptable, and you can do quite a lot of things with them and get your heart rate really going with them as well. So is there
anything that we might have lying around at home that we could use in a similar way to how you use your kettlebell?
Yes. So I've seen various home kind of things where people have filled up like shopping bags, like the thick bags for life. put a bit of weight in them and use them to kind of lift similar to a kettlebell. But generally, if you haven't got anything similar to a kettlebell, you can just use quite like cans or, you know, bottles of water or, you know, anything that you can kind of adapt, really. I wasn't expecting that question, so
I know, sorry, I wasn't expecting it either.
But yeah, yeah, if you haven't got a kettlebell to hand, there is things you can use, basically.
So we've had a Facebook comment. Thank you. I can't see who it is, unfortunately, but somebody that you've worked with, because they say you're a great teacher. It can be hard to motivate, but worth it.
Yeah, I might be a great teacher, but I can't talk for toffee. So yeah.
Oh, I don't know. You've done a great job. So if anyone's got any more questions, can you pop them in? Because we're nearly finished chatting with Steve. I'm sure that I'm going to say this, and I haven't asked Steve, but I'm sure he'll be okay with it. If you have any questions when you're watching this on the replay, if you just put the comments in, Steve will keep an eye on this post in the group and he'll reply to any questions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So then last thing from you, Steve, how can people get in contact with you? How can they work with you?
Yeah.
And what kind of things do you do?
Yeah, so I do quite a lot now. So like I say, before I got certified last year in chair-based activity, so it doesn't just have to be weightlifting and all that sort of thing. You know, I can do quite a lot in terms of movement. Nutrition, so I do a lot in terms of nutrition. I've got quite a few nutrition qualifications. Kettlebells, I'm certified as a kettlebell coach. Circuits, rather than ream them all off, they're all on my Facebook page. So you can find us at Fitness Independence. If you just go onto Facebook, bob that in the search box, and I am on Instagram as well, and that's Steve at Fitness Independence. So generally on my Instagram page, there'll be a lot more kind of tutorial things, explaining exercise and certain kind of on the back of this, there'll be one later on in the week about stress and anxiety and the exercise response. But yeah, if you go back through my Instagram post, there's quite a lot of information on that sort of thing. And
you do some group sessions, don't you? Do you do some online group sessions?
I do every Wednesday. I've got a session at 12:30, and that varies depending on what we're doing that week. Last week we did legs, bums, and tums. This week we're doing cardio blast, and so that class changes every week. Basically, the one at 12:30 on a Wednesday. Later on Wednesday, we do kettlebells. So kettlebells, it's set to times. So it's called high intensity intervals. And, you know, if you've got a kettlebell to hand, you can use a kettlebell. If you've got a dumbbell to hand, you can use a dumbbell. So we can kind of mix it up a bit. And then on a Friday night, we do circuits. Now, these are all normally physical classes, but as it stands, until we come out of any sort of restrictions or all that sort of thing, we've been online pretty much most of the year now, so we kind of know the score. And they're all run via Zoom, so you can join in via your laptop, phone, and the links are posted every Monday. Links are posted for the whole week, and the class is usually £2. Or if you join for the whole month or whole week, there's various different options. So just drop us a message.
So just before I let you go, we've had one more question through. So what about if you have any disabilities? Are there any gentle exercises?
So in what sort of...
Does it maybe depend on the disability?
It really does, yeah. So I'd need to maybe go into that conversation a bit more, because in terms of disability, there's very, there's ranges of disabilities, obviously, but there's different things you can and can't do, and so if you want to go for the message afterwards, we can go into that a bit further.
Yeah. I suppose the answer is, though, that for the majority of people, there will be something.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So there's gentle exercises for any range of disability, but I'd kind of need to know what the disability is without swerving the question. It's a bit broader than broader than that.
Yeah, I mean the program the really quick program that you showed us before, that had a bit of arms, it had a bit of gentle leg stuff as well. So I suppose most people would be able to adapt that. But I suppose if not, if you've got a specific question and you want to discuss it, get in contact with Steve directly, and he will talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
It's probably the answer to that.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Do post the links to your Facebook and your Instagram and whatever else in the chat on here so that people can get hold of you if they need to.
Okay.
And thank you very much. I'm going to say bye to you for now.
See you later.
See you, Steve. Thank you. Yeah. So, just going to wrap up now. I can't believe how great this has gone, and it was fantastic to speak to Steve. Next week, I've got a really good friend of mine called Lisa Davenport coming to talk to us. She runs a company called, she runs a business called Believability, and she specialises in supporting kids with anxiety and other issues. So she's going to come and talk to us about how we can recognise anxiety in our kids and what we can do to support them. I say our kids, your kids, I don't have any. So that will be at 7 o'clock next Monday. So if you have any questions for Lisa, let me know. And if you have any further questions for Steve, or you're watching this on replay, then just pop them in the comments and Steve will get back to you as soon as he can. And any questions for me, get in touch anytime. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.